So I'm delighted this morning to be with Justine Kirkham. So look, I was introduced to Justine through Nicola Brown, who introduced me to Julia Weatherall, Julia's sisters, Justine, and they appeared at the commercial summit, which feels like an eternity ago. It wasn't that long
Yes,
ago.
yeah.
It's a completely different world now to me. Things have changed so much. Look, rather than me take too much of the time, Justine, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners? I know you've got a design background. You're part of Noted Property. You're one of the directors. And who is Noted Property for people who've never come across you or your
Sure.
sister?
Okay, so my name is Justine. I work with my sister Julia, and we together started Noted Property, which basically was a dream of ours that we've always wanted to do. And a few years ago, we launched into buying an HMO. We bought an very old tired guest house and renovated it into a very luxurious boutique style all ensuite HMO down in Ramsgate. And that gave us the thirst for more. And we'd always had an idea of being able to renovate old properties that were unused or empty and bring them back to life, really. And we had a great opportunity to buy an ex-care home that had been empty for a number of years. It was in a really bad state. And that's now 6 luxury flats in the middle of we're very excited about what we've done so far. But obviously things have changed dramatically in the last few months. And as you say, that meeting that we had seemed to be a long time ago. But obviously it isn't. It isn't a long time ago, but things have changed so dramatically.
Sure. As I say, things have really changed significantly, even in the last week or two, even literally sometimes by the hour. So
Yeah.
we lost signal with you just a few moments ago about where your development was. If I remember, it's Harrogate?
Harrogate, that's right, North Yorkshire. So we're about half an hour north of Leeds.
Okay, and so that development, where is it in terms of process right now?
It's completed. So we completed that last year, and it's been full until last week when the first tenant moved on. So talk about timing. but it's
and that's a HMO then, is it? Is that correct?
No, that one is the 2-bed luxury apartments in the middle of Harrogate. That one. We've also got the property down in Ramsgate in Kent, because Julia's based in London and I'm based up north. So we've got both sides of things. So working remotely for us is actually quite a normal situation.
So working remotely is normal for you, but yes. This certainly not a normal episode whatsoever. So
without doubt.
Yeah, so how are you still, I know you've got the advantage of working remotely, you've probably done Zoom before or similar calls, but how else have you utilized what you've done in the past and brought it forward? What else have you done remotely or how, because it is fascinating speaking to people who've done things remotely before, because in many respects you're at an advantage. Myself doing all my meets in a room and never doing anything online. Now it's almost catch-up time, even though COVID-19 may only have an effect, I'm hoping, in a very, very short term.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think the thing is, Julia and I have actually had we have calls every day. We use either FaceTime or Zoom, and we catch up. So we often send information to one another to then book a call to then look over that information with a call. So from that point of view, it hasn't affected us too badly. However, on the other side of things, we've built a very good team here now in North Yorkshire. So we have several builders that we work with, our solicitor, our accountant, etc., all here, and people that we work with on a regular basis. But I'm very much a face-to-face person, so rather than doing a call, I would much rather have a face-to-face meeting either at an office or a coffee shop. So from that side of things have changed dramatically, and it does feel a little bit like our wings have been clipped. Julia has been doing a lot of networking in London, and that's definitely had an enormous change to the way she's gone about things. But on the positive side of things, I would say that we've made a lot of contacts with people in the past, and then that has then developed into groups that have come together. and those people have been incredibly supportive, and we've now got umpteen WhatsApp groups that we're part of. One of the main ones that we try and take part in is the Property Sisters group, which has Claire Norwood, Ruth Hobbs, Gillian Hobbs, and those guys are all amazing. They're all, you know, on WhatsApp all the time. Anybody can ask a question. It's incredibly supportive. And there's also then been break-off groups from that, where people who've got similar issues and concerns going on have broken off and then got their own individual groups. So I think from that side of things, it's that's the silver lining, if you like.
See, I may be a bit of a rebel, but I'm not really a lover of WhatsApp. Maybe you have to be in this market, but for me, even when people have done pub crawls, I still don't like WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know, sorry to WhatsApp. I'm sure maybe over time I will get used of it. Hopefully, not having to get used of it too much.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it can be hard to follow the threads and so forth.
Yes, definitely. But I think
So,
it's one of those things, once you get used to it, it's like anything, isn't it? Once you get used to something and you start using it a lot, you know, it's become sort of second nature now, I think, a little bit.
So how else are you working remotely? Is it tools like Asana, which I don't use? I over the last week I've experimented, partly
Yeah.
because I've had time to look at what other Trello. Do you use any of those tools?
Well, because we had two developments that were literally due to start in April, May time, we had set it up so that we'd actually be using those types of tools in order to be able to run the developments. With Julia being down in London and myself being up in the north, then my role tends to be incredibly hands-on. I'm down at site all of the time and making sure that things are running properly. But from Julia's point of view, the working remotely side of it was very important. So we were looking at something called FON.
Oh yeah, Font Construction. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've met the co-founder.
Yes. So Julia was talking to them about how to get our two new developments set up so that she had that access to not only myself but also obviously the project managers on site and everything as well. But obviously with what's happened, we've actually pressed pause on both of those developments as it stands at the moment. Both are great deals and we're very, very keen to do them, but it just feels like at the moment we need to let the dust settle a little bit before we actually press go on them.
And for me, it's such a shame not to go that next step. It's almost, as you say, clipping the wings. And I understand that expression. For me, it's you know, in terms of what I'd like to do, it is almost wait and see. And almost for me personally, it's almost a time of rebuilding. And it's quite tricky because for me personally, it's rebuilding for how long. And I think that's possibly the issue with lots of developers out there as well. So what, one or two final questions. One is, how have you built a routine in this chaos? And the second thing is, what opportunities are you still open to or considering open to, and how can people reach out to you?
So in terms of a routine, I would say that my routine has probably been disrupted more than I expected, just because my kids have all come home. So I've got two lads who are at university, so they're both at home now. So our routine tends to be, we've obviously got, my daughter's at sixth form, so we've got sort of, there's lessons going on, there's lectures going on, everybody's doing everything remotely. So there's lots of people scattered throughout the house doing different things at different times, trying to keep the noise down in the rest of the house so that people can do that side of things. So it's been a good lesson for us, I think, as a family, to sort of take and be a bit more considerate about what other people have got going on. But in terms of the routine, normally I would be out the door first thing in the morning and I wouldn't be back until later on because I'd be out at meetings. But in terms of building a routine, I've actually been, there was a few days where I felt quite unmotivated, which is very unlike me, just because of that lack of routine. But now I'm finding that, setting the alarm, getting up, taking the dog out first thing in the morning, straight away, cup of tea, sit down, start getting on with things. And once I'm on a roll, I don't seem to have a problem with carrying it on, which is good. So
in terms of routine, so scheduling possibly, or just making sure you do things early in the morning when you're full of energy.
Yeah, that's it.
So look, we've briefly looked at opportunities and so forth. I just want to remind the listeners out there, this coming Monday, so I've got a popular online morning session. So look, I've been experimenting with the best times. I wasn't expecting Monday mornings to be the time when people want to come on Zoom call. But that's what it is. So Monday mornings from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., 90 minutes. You will be joined by the likes of Paul Higgs, Daryl Knockett from Lendwell, Ben Richards, Aura Architecture, John Howard, who's behind, I thought it was a 2022 unit development, but in terms of floors, but it's 18 floors, called a Wine Rack in Ipswich. It's a beautiful development. I was there before Christmas. Just
Right.
thinking of who else is going to be on the panel. That's about it, and yourself.
Sounds great.
So look, Jack Jiggins will be chairing that panel, so it's a lot less about me. It's more me making sure that people are muted when they need to be, and so forth, and
Yeah.
also getting those questions into the chat box as well. So there's a chat box facility on the Zoom call. Look, in terms of opportunities that you're still open to, and I understand, there's question marks about where we are right now. I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised reading the news. But some people aren't reading the news about Carphone Warehouse and their current situation.
Yeah.
Um, just a little bit about opportunities that you are open to.
Well, I think the key for us is actually sort of trying to sort of look at where we think if it's going to be a V-shaped bounce back, or whether we think it's actually going to take a lot longer. Opportunities wise, for example, at the moment we were looking at doing another HMO along the similar lines of the ones we've already got, but we're also considering now whether that would be better as one-bedroom flats, given the sort of the social distancing and whether there's an issue there with HMOs, for example. So it's made us go back and really relook at our strategy and what the options are. We're very much open to doing refurbishments in Harrogate. We're also looking at Leeds, which is a very exciting market. And I think our attitude is that we're not writing anything off. We literally feel like we've hit the pause button as opposed to stopping anything. I think January, February time for us was a time where we felt that it was very exciting. We had huge amounts of plans. We were looking at new sites. We were looking at build to rent schemes. It just felt like huge opportunities. And I think what it's made us do is very much sort of look at what we're comfortable in doing, not stretching ourselves, making sure that there's cash reserves in the bank, and just doing everything a little bit more cautiously, I think, at the moment. But that doesn't mean to say that we're not interested in looking at different opportunities, because I think it just means that our due diligence is going to be that little bit more careful.
It's interesting you mentioned HMO and the question mark on HMOs going forward, because it depends on who you listen to. Some people think it's actually going to be more suitable for HMOs,
Absolutely.
because people's budgets are tighter. So that's one of the key aspects. So look, what's the best way to reach out to you? Is it Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? What's your preferred method of communication?
I very open to all. So LinkedIn, Justine Kirkham. We're at Noted Property on Instagram. We've also got on Facebook, both Julia and I are on as individuals, Julia Wetherall and Justine Kirkham, but also as Noted Property. So yeah, any of those, any of the above.
Look, I just want to say massive thanks, first of all, taking time out today, and also on Monday morning as well. So Monday, the 6th of April. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Just a call to the listeners out there. If you've got people you'd like me to interview, feel free to let me know. If there's topics, if you think there's a particular Monday morning you think is suited to a particular topic, I'm definitely all ears. So thank you, Justine, and
Pleasure.
thank you to the listeners as well.